Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a family game night video of a role-playing game story from Star Trek, the role-playing game. Years ago, we did this, and I'm titling this The NPC Superstar. And before we get into this, I got to explain what I mean by an NPC, an NPC superstar. Anyone who's played tabletop role-playing games for any length of time will tell you that a crappy game master will ruin a game, period. It could be the best game in the world, but if the guy running it makes a big mistake, a faux pas, as it were, it'll ruin the game. It ruins everybody's fun. The whole point of the game is to have fun. Being a game master, there's a lot of responsibility. There are certain tenets you have to abide by. One of the tenets is no matter what game you're playing, no matter what story you're running, no matter what scenario you're in, no matter what the mission is, the players are the star of the show. They're the ones who move the story along. So it doesn't matter what the situation is, the game master has to let the players be the star. Okay? They're the ones playing. The game master's job is to make sure the players are having fun. And to do that, the players have to be the stars. It's that simple. One of the worst things a game master can do is run an NPC and make him the star of the show. That happens a lot. It happens in many role-playing games. It's not the game's fault. That's on the game master. NPCs, non-player characters. When a person is playing in a game and they're running a character, that's called a player character. Anything that's not ran by a player is run by the game master, and those are called non-player characters, shortened to NPC. NPCs are supposed to provide guidance, support, help, etc. But making them the star of the show, so to speak, undermines the players. The game is supposed to be about the players, not the game master's pets. This happens in all tabletop role-playing games, and it is wrong. Every game master, to some degree, as a game master, you have to run NPCs. They have to have the players have to have people to interact with. If you're going to run a character that you created in the game with the players, make sure he's in a secondary role. If he is the star of the show, there's something wrong. Years ago, this is I'm going to get to the story now. Years ago, several friends and I agreed to play in a game of Star Trek, the role-playing game, and we drew randomly for the positions. But this guy wanted me to be the captain, and I don't know why he did, but he did. And I honestly cannot remember the name of the guy that ran it, because he was kind of a friend of a friend type thing, and I only met him the one time, and I didn't want to play in the game anymore. But he said he knew what he was doing, so we said, sure, we'll give a new guy a try, no problem. Start out. The mission in this game was to recover a missing Federation lieutenant who had stolen a shuttlecraft. This guy apparently had went AWOL, and they couldn't figure out why. And we pursued him in our starship, and he was at a shuttlecraft. In pursuing him, we ran into a Klingon battle group consisting of 14 D7 cruisers. Now, in a one-on-one confrontation, a Federation heavy cruiser versus a Klingon D7, and these were older ships, so we had them, no problem. 3-to-1, quite dicey. I mean, we were outgunned big time. 14-to-1 is a whole other critter. I tried talking to them as the captain. It's my job to keep the peace. I tried talking to them. They didn't want to talk. I tried to escape. I tried to run away because we were so outgunned. It was hilariously, ridiculously outgunned, and I tried to run away. We weren't getting away. So I tried to hide. I went into a planetary atmosphere, because it was in a star system. I went into the planetary atmosphere, and then I dove into the magnetic pole, trying to confuse their sensors. And when I shot out of the gravity well on the other side, we headed straight for the sun, and I looped around the sun on the far side. I mean, I was doing everything I could think of. Trying to use the sun's electromagnetic interference to mess with their sensors. I was trying to do everything I could to hide from these things. But these Klingons, there were so many of them, it was hard to hide, They had eyes everywhere. We ended up having to fight. And we were good. We destroyed 2 of those ships because, like I said, they were older ships. And for some reason, the Klingons weren't using shielding. I don't know why. So we were able to destroy 2 of them, but they ended up crippling us. We had no warp drive. Our long-range communications were out. I mean, it was ridiculous. We were out. We were outgunned big time. And it was I was just about to order an abandoned ship and hope the Klingons were willing to take prisoners. When of course this wayward lieutenant showed up in this stolen shuttlecraft and outfought the Klingons in this shuttlecraft that he had modified. And these Klingons didn't stand a chance against this shuttlecraft with a crew of 1 without warp drive. He outfought all 12 of the remaining Klingon ships. He destroyed 6 of them, and the rest of them fled. I found out later the wayward lieutenant was a character he created for him. He was actually running it in somebody else's game. I did not know that. So yeah, that we didn't like that. We didn't like that at all. This little shuttle was doing things a full-on heavy cruiser like the Enterprise from the original series couldn't do. It was outlandishly ridiculous. So yeah, NPC Superstar. If you ever run into something like that in a tabletop role-playing game, that's not the game's fault. That's the dungeon master, the game master. Because it happens, like I said, in all games. It happens in Dungeons and Dragons. It happens in Star Trek and Recon. And I mean, there are game masters out there who they don't realize that the players are supposed to be the stars. So, at any rate, I figured I'd share that with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Something to watch out for when you're in tabletop role-playing games. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.